Okay, I'm live on YouTube too. There we go. Okay, we're live on both. If anybody is on YouTube, let me know if you can hear me. So I want to make sure that I did the mic thing right because I just clicked through really fast. I'm afraid I might have not done my mic correctly. So if anybody happens to be on YouTube right now or slipping back and forth between the two apps, you can hear me? Okay, good. Just want to make sure because I realized I just clicked through and didn't click on what the default there we go. Okay, default mic. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry, guys. Yeah, IG is never a problem because it's through my phone. But the YouTube is a little different now. And every time I log on, I feel like they change something about it. So I was just hit with a message that the pro lists are out for the shows this weekend. But we're not going to go into that today because I did not have a chance to actually look at the pro lists. So, but they are out. So we will be doing that tomorrow. We'll do a full preview of the shows this weekend tomorrow night live. Okay? Come on in, guys. Okay. We're giving it another minute or so. And thank you on the headband compliment. I just put it on because my hair is a friggin' mess right now from doing double cardios and not brushing it. Bottom line, I'm that girl that I either look like I'm done up to the nines or I look homeless. It's one of the two. There's no in between. So you guys get me homeless right now. I'm not entirely homeless because I do have some tinted moisturizer on and some blush, and I did my brows for you. So I'm not entirely homeless right now, but pretty close. Welcome, guys. So, all right, now that we've got everybody on, grab I'm still drinking caffeine because I still got more cardio to do. So where's my caffeine at? It's in here somewhere. There it is. Got it. I'm just all over the place today, you guys. Today's been a very long day. Good. I got a lot of stuff done, but I literally walked in the door with enough time to get on live with you guys. I was like, I'm just going to make it. And I still got to do cardio again. So anyway, here I am. So I wanted to talk about the copycat mentality tonight because this is something that happens a lot. And we talked about it. We touched on it. In regard to posing and things like that, but it's across the board, this copycat mentality. And what I mean by that is guys and girls feel like they can go online and copy other competitors and get the same results. And that's just not how it works. Across the board. It doesn't work like that in your diet. It doesn't work like that in your training. It doesn't work like that in your posing. It doesn't work like that in your presence. It doesn't work like that in your hair and makeup, in your suit. It doesn't work like that at all. You can't copy people and expect it to be the same for you, right? So I see this a lot. I've seen this a lot now that I've started doing these questions on my cardio questions where I answer questions for you guys on my stories while I'm doing cardio. Because what'll happen is I'll answer a question that comes in about my training or my diet or whatever. And then whoever asked the question will then expand upon that in my DMs and say something to the effect, well, I'm doing this. I should be doing what you're doing and blah, 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 blah. And that is not the case at all. That is not the case. Just because I'm doing something does not mean you should be doing it, right? Doesn't mean it's going to work for you, right? Happy Tuesday. Yes, happy Tuesday. So, I wanted to use some examples, and as we're talking here, go ahead and you guys can put in some examples of yourself and things that you do, that probably other people don't, right? So I'm going to use my stature, as I do quite often. I am 5'9". So when you see me on stage, I am the tallest girl in every single show. It's very, very rare that you will find somebody that is the same height as me or taller. I think the only time I've had somebody taller than me is Masa. I competed with Masa once and she is taller than me by like an inch. That is the only time that I've had somebody taller than me, right? So with that, my diet, my training, my cardio, all of that, how I pose is going to be vastly different from somebody that is 5'5". It's going to be incredibly different because I need different things, right? I'll use my use my training for example. I rarely squat, rarely. Like, if I do, it's on like a pendulum squat or something like that. So I'm going into my glutes, that kind of thing. Because when I squat, it goes entirely into my legs. Because when you break down the structure of my body, 62% of my body is legs. So that means I've got a lot of leverage there. I got a lot of area to cover when I go from, when I go ass to grass kind of thing, right? So when I'm training, I train differently than most people do. When it comes to training my glutes, I have to isolate glutes. I have to, or I will not hit them. I will hit quads every time, right? So I know that about my frame. I know that about my body. And I know that I have to adjust workouts and training so that it hits the targeted areas that I want to hit. So just because I'm doing it a certain way does not mean you should be doing it that way, because probably you're not 5'9", and probably 62% of your body is not legs, right? My structure is different. So I need to do things differently in order to be able to build my physique a little bit differently, right? My posing is different because I need to work on lower back flexibility. So I pose different right now to accommodate that till I get that flexibility. Well, yes and no. So your posing is not different. Your flexibility is what is different, right? Your poses will evolve as your flexibility evolves. We're not posing you a certain way because you're not flexible. We're posing you that way because you are not flexible. Does that make sense? Like, you would have, your poses would push more and would be a little bit different if you were more flexible in your lower back, right? So we're not posing you a certain way because of your flexibility. We're posing you a certain way so that you can become more flexible and push into it more, right? Hopefully that makes sense. But you're not posing differently than everybody else because of your flexibility. You're posing differently because of your flexibility. Does that make sense? I don't know if I emphasized those words correctly or not. But I hope that made sense as far as how I just broke that down. So as your flexibility improves, I've got a hair on my lip. Sorry, guys. As your flexibility improves, so will your poses. Your poses will improve as well. And that's kind of a normal thing too. We got a lot of girls that I work with that need to improve their flexibility. Like, there's only so much I can do as a posing coach, right? I can put you into poses, but if you can't tilt and you can't bend and you can't twist, there's nothing I can do to make that happen. You have to work on it in your flexibility and in your practice on your daily basis, right? In order to make things become better, you have to work at it on a daily basis, right? So going back to the copycat mentality thing, right? So, again, we're talking about the training. My training is going to be different because of the way that I'm structured. Also, the way that I eat is going to be different because I am a big girl, right? I'm 5'9". You have to remember that. On stage, my day of the show weight is 138 pounds, right? I'm hoping for this next show I'm a little bit tighter, but I'm not going to be much smaller than that. Because in order for my proportions to show properly, I have to be bigger. I don't have a 22-inch waist, right? So in order for my waistline to look small, the rest of me has to be bigger around it. That's the easiest way to make a thicker waistline look smaller. Make a thicker waistline look smaller by growing around it, right? So for me, my waistline 25 inches, so it's actually not bad. It's 25 inches. So, but it is still bigger than a lot of girls that are in the pro league. So in order for me to look proportionate, my ratios to be proportionate, I have to be bigger through my back and my shoulders, and I have to be bigger through my glutes. All of those things in order to make my waistline look tiny, right? And people say that all the time. Actually, they're like, you don't have a thick waistline. In comparison to these girls in the pro league, I do. Yeah, in comparison to them, I do. So you have to always remember where you're stepping on stage too. So this is another thing to go into with copycat syndrome, right? I have a lot of you ladies out there who are NPC competitors that try to pose and copy the pros. And I don't know how many times I have to say this, but when you're not a pro, You don't pose like pros do, right? You pose like NPC girls. There is a difference in the league. There is a difference in the posing. There is a difference in everything that you're doing on stage. So that copycat mentality doesn't work. And this has been, and we've talked about this a lot. This has been an increasing problem because there is so much availability of posing, and a lot of the pros have YouTube channels and vlogs, and they talk about their eating and they talk about their training, and they show you all that stuff. They show you full days of eating and they show you full days of training and things like that. So you automatically feel like you need to be doing what they're doing, and that's not the case. Just because it works for them does not mean it's going to work for you, right? You have to find what works best for you. Let's take it over to nutrition for a minute. So my entire career, I did meal plans up until now. The last year and a half, I've been on macros. And actually, before I hired Jamie as my coach, I was doing macros on my own in order to prep myself for pageants and things like that. So I was familiar with macros. I just hadn't done macros in a bodybuilding concept, right? I'd done it in a pageant and dieting kind of concept that way, but I hadn't done it in a bodybuilding realm. So, my goal in the pageant was to get skinny. It was not to get lean. There is a difference. I was actually stripping muscle off of me for the pageants because I was too big for pageant stuff. So it was a very different kind of goal. And my macros were very different than what they are now. My activity level was very different than what they are now. All of those kinds of things. Anyway, going back to it. So, meal plans worked really well for me. Meal plans worked really well for me. That's how I won my pro card, all of those kinds of things. But I wanted to do macros because I felt like there had to be a better way than, cod and tilapia and coconut oil freaking 15 times a day, right? So, that I started playing around with my macros and things like that and what I was eating in my macros. And I found a really good balance in my macros that works very well for me. I stick with, when I'm really closer to a show, I stick with basic stuff like you would in meal plans anyway: rice, sweet potatoes, rice cakes, oatmeal, things like that. I still have my bagel right now. I have my bagel every morning. I have my bagel every morning for my breakfast. That is my one thing, my bagel. But I do cut that out the week of the show. But that I found those things work for me. How I space my meals out, how I put my protein and my greens and all that kind of stuff together with my meals works well for me because that's how my body digests things very well. And I figured that out through just playing with it. So just because it works for me and I digest those foods well and I perform well off of those foods does not mean the same is going to be true for you. Maybe you have a gluten intolerance. I do not. I thought I did because the meal plans got me so restricted that my body was just rejecting everything. But now that I'm on macros, I realize I don't have a sensitivity to gluten. I'm fine with gluten. I am lactose intolerant. I will put that out there. So I stay away from dairy. You know what I mean? But I'm able to eat gluten, no problem. Right? So that might not be you. You may need to figure that out for yourself. So again, going back to this concept of just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you, right? Those of you that were on my stories and saw the cardio questions, right? I asked, what is the most amount of cardio that you've ever been on in prep? That was the question that I asked. Really basic, really simple. I just want to know the most that you've ever done. And many of you guys saw those answers, I'm sure. But they were all over the place. They're all different. Some women were saying that they were doing, 3 hours of cardio a day. I've never done 3 hours of cardio a day, by the way, ever. The most I've done is actually what I was doing going into peak week for New York, which was 90 minutes. It's the most I've ever done. So those 2 45-minute sessions. Typically, I'm more like around an hour. That's typically where I am. And typically it's steady state, those kinds of things too. Some people do HIIT cardio, all of that. We had a couple of answers on there that were really low cardio, but I know that the girls that responded are fitness pros. So I know they're getting their cardio in when they're practicing their routines, that kind of thing. So again, just by looking at that one answer, you would think those girls weren't doing anything when it came to cardio, but in reality, they were expending more energy because they're working on their routines as well, right? That's more. So again, taking a snapshot of what somebody else is doing and trying to do it for yourself that way is not going to work. There's just too many things that you don't know about that particular person that may be completely opposite from you. Maybe you have injuries that you have to deal with and you have to work around. That's absolutely possible. Maybe you've got stronger body parts and weaker body parts. So you got to work on those weak body parts and not the strong ones. I know a lot of wellness girls that don't train upper body at all. Zero. All they do is they train their lower body. That's it. Because they just want to build their lower body and their upper bodies are already too big. A lot of wellness girls are like that. I would never get away with something like that. I got to be balanced. I got to train my whole body. Right? Tell me, guys, some of the things that maybe you've seen maybe you've tried to copy or you've seen other people try to copy. So type in and let me know some of the things that you've seen that have not worked. You know, that they've tried to copy with all good intentions. They try to copy somebody else and then it doesn't do for them what it did for that person that they copied. Just go ahead and type some examples you can think of in there. If I can sit here and rattle off a few of them myself, you should be able to do a couple. Knees, working through it. Oh, the injuries, your knees. Yeah. Yeah. When you got an injury like that, you have to work around it. Right. I know a lot of ladies that go in to get breast augmentations done. Usually that's a pretty easy one, but for the first, 6 weeks or so, you got to work around it. Right. Only wear waist trainers. Copied Ashley K. Window connectors. Oh, the window connectors were popular for a while, but they're not anymore at all. They were very popular, though, for a long period of time. Only wear waist trainers. I'm not sure what you mean by the only wear waist trainers. Maybe expand on that. I can touch on the waist trainer while I'm waiting for you to write in there. Do my cardio right now. There you go. Had that issue too. Some competitors can eat dairy or Chick-fil-A during prep. I smell it and I start to bloat. That's funny. Without doing cardio. I've never seen anybody do just a waist trainer and not cardio. If you're in prep, you better be doing cardio. Some form or fashion of cardio, whether it's just walking steps or whatever, you better be doing some cardio. Restricting sodium and water versus not restricting. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of restricting sodium and water, period. I don't think that ever turns out well. So I'm just going to say that right now. Restricting sodium and water is not a good idea, period. I'm just going to put that out there. So, everybody's going to have a little bit of a different protocol, but eliminating sodium and eliminating water is not a good idea. So reducing is fine. Some diuretics, some people do have to take diuretics. That tends to be fine if that's your protocol. But yeah, no. Yeah, you need to have fluid in your body in order to fill your muscle out. If you have no water in your body, you're going to look flat. Yep. LOL at Chick-fil-A. Where's Giovanna, right? Yeah, Giovanna can do Chick-fil-A, no problem. There's no way I could do that. And I do dairy in prep. I do Greek yogurt. That's the one dairy I can have. So I do Greek yogurt all the way up until I'm a couple weeks out from a show. I've kept it out since New York just because I've only got 3 weeks between the two shows. So there's no point in putting it back in. But I do Greek yogurt. That helps with my gut health. And cake, right? Yeah, Jamaica with her cake, right? Quick fix to make your waist smaller. Well, I would hope that the whole waist trainer thing has been debunked by now, but like there's no way that if you're in prep that you're only doing waist trainers. There's no way. You've got to be doing cardio too. I tell my clients all the time my diet will not work for them. Yep, absolutely. Just on the topic of waist trainers, I mean, waist trainers are a tool. They're not a solution, they're a tool. And they can be used to do specific things and fix certain specific problems, but they are not a solution to problems. They are a tool to help with problems, right? Just like everything else is a tool. Waist trainers help with my skin as I slim down to keep me from sagging. Yep. Yes, you finally made it for alive. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so the waist trainers will help to keep your skin nice and tight too. That's one of the good things about waist trainers is you're losing weight. It will help with the skin, keeping you tight. Absolutely, will help with that. But yeah, going back to relating that to the copycat mentality, just because a waist trainer works well for somebody doesn't mean it's going to work well for you, and vice versa. You have to have a specific goal in mind with your waist trainer if you're going to be using one. It is not going to make you structurally smaller. It's not going to do that. What it can help with is, like we mentioned, the skin, the adipose tissue, kind of squishing all of that. What I felt like it did for me personally is it helped me to control my core when I was training, because I still use it. I used it today, which in turn helps me to keep my waistline tight when I'm posing and things like that too. Helps with that core control. And for me, it really helped. I have no lower ab pooch or lower back fat anywhere in there, which I've always had an issue with getting rid of the last couple of weeks going into a show, and I don't have that problem. So I think that the waist trainer helped with that. Getting my digestion better also helped with that too, but I think the waist trainer definitely helps with that kind of scenario, but it's not going to change your structure. So if you have a 30-inch waist, it's not going to make it a 25-inch waist. It's just not going to happen. So have you noticed a big difference from one prep to another? Body reacts completely different. Yep, absolutely. Yep, waist trainers do that. So it's, again, a waist trainer is there for the extra 1%. I talk about this all the time. Bodybuilding is a game of percentages, and every little 1% that you can get closer is 1% closer, right? So again, going back to the waist trainer is not a solution to a problem, but it's a tool to help with a problem, right? So you can use that tool. It's not going to be like a savior, you know what I mean? But it will help that 1%, right? And that's what we need. We just need 1%, 1%, right? Let me make it be. Oh, thanks. I literally just threw it on. It's just like a CC cream, blush, and that's it. Oh, I did put some highlighter on my cheeks. I did do that. I put highlighter on. That was it. So, and my brows. It took me less than 5 minutes because I walked in the door from running around earlier, threw my headband on and my makeup on, and here I am. What else? Give me some other things that maybe you guys have seen being copycatted. I'll talk about coaches. Coaches copycat people a lot, which, that can sometimes be helpful. You got to start somewhere as a coach, if you're copying a good coach, if you've got a good mentor, you got a good teacher, that's actually not a bad thing, because then you're learning the right way. But there are some coaches out there that literally will just hire gurus and take their routines and their diets and copy and paste and send them out. Thankfully, those are easy. Those types of coaches are easier to get rid of and sniff out now. You know what I mean? But even 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. It was very rampant. It was very rampant. We'll help to get rid of back fat and pooch training prep. All of it. Like I said, all of it. I mean, your diet and your training all goes hand in hand. So, if you've got fat, you got to get leaner. That's it. And that's bottom line. You got to get leaner if you got fat on you. So That means you got to tighten up the diet. You got to get more cardio in. You got to get your training intensity bumped up, all of those things, right? Post-show treats, I can see that being copied all the time can lead to a slippery slope. So I don't know if I would consider that to be a copycat kind of thing. I think that's just somebody that's on a restrictive diet blowing their diet. You know, like I don't know if that's necessarily a copycat, because that's not something that people do in order to be successful in this sport. Like binging on post-show treats is not something that somebody will do to try to get an edge and copy somebody to get better. That's just not something that you do. So it doesn't really fall into the copycat situation, but it's just something to be aware of. You know, that's another thing that I've mentioned because I've been on macros. I don't crave anything. So people that saw me after the show can attest to this. I didn't go crazy. I didn't bring treats with me at all. I didn't have treats. I went to dinner. I had my energy drink, which is what I really wanted. I really wanted an energy drink because I hadn't had one in a couple of days. That's my thing. That's like my daily treat. So I had an energy drink. I had steak, potatoes, asparagus, and I did have dessert. And that was it. You know, and that was it. I mean, I really didn't like the following day. Like I said, I had a couple of chocolates and I had a piece of pizza. But again, it was one. It wasn't like I went and binged on stuff. It was one. And then on Monday, I had a nice dinner out with my husband, which I ate all the foods. And it was an amazing dinner. Oh my God. It was literally like the best meal I've ever had in my life. And I ate a lot. So, you know, the only thing that I would say as far as macros is concerned is, I mean, you're still dieting. You know, I don't crave anything. It's not like I want a bunch of crap. You know, that's not the case. I don't want a bunch of junk. I just want to eat more of good foods. Like I want more of my beef. I want more rice. I want more, you know, I want more. Just don't want more of what I have already, you know? So that's it. That's one thing that has been completely different this prep with the whole macros thing. Is I don't have cravings, because if I want something, I can fit it into my macros. I mean, that's hugely freeing. So anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent. But what else? Is there anything else that you've seen people copy? You've seen people copy that is not a good idea to copy? I mean, like I said, you don't want to get into that rut of copying what other people do, because just because it makes them successful doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make you successful. And you want to be unique. You know, you got to be you on stage. That's what's going to make you shine, is by being you. And if you're constantly trying to be somebody else or copy somebody else, you're just a copy of them. They're the original. So you need to always remember that. In the past, I've tried to copy a pro's posing routine, which was not good for my physique. Yep. I see it a lot. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. I love key cringe when people stockpile junk food after a show. It makes me queasy thinking about it. Yeah. You know, and for a long time that was a cultural thing when it comes to bodybuilding. It's almost like a rite of passage. Like when you get off stage, that's what you do. You just start eating everything you couldn't have. But I think that really the last 4 or 5 years, that mentality has dissipated, right? I think a lot of people have realized that that's not good for you, all of those kinds of things. You know what I mean? And with the introduction of macros into bodybuilding, I think that has really helped a lot of people with binging problems, with eating disorder problems, things like that. I mean, it helped me. You know, it really helped me with my digestion. You know, it really helped me a lot with my digestion. I had really bad digestive problems when I was on meal plans. And it was simply because my diet was just so restrictive. Now that it's not restrictive, I can eat whatever I want to eat and I'm okay. I still stay away from like heavy dairy stuff because I can't process that well. You know, it just is what it is. As much as I love cheese and ice cream and all that kind of stuff, I just don't do it because it's not worth it. That's really the only thing I can eat everything else, which I couldn't do just a few years ago. Yeah, the macro journey is good. You know, again, it's really helped me with a lot of food issues and a lot of digestion issues. Um, Same food varieties paramount. Sure is. Absolutely. Got to keep that gut health in check. 100%. Yep. So, it's going back again, that was a little bit of a tangent there, but bottom line is that there's certain things that are never going to change in this sport. And that is that you need to diet, you need to do cardio, you need to train, you need to do all of those things in order to get on stage, but it needs to be specific to you, right? Those things need to be programmed specifically for you. What your body needs, what your presentation needs, what your everything. You've got completely separate needs than what I do. So, you need to recognize that. You need to recognize that you are a different person, right? So you're going to need different things. And B, you got to find somebody that can help you do that, right? That's why we have coaches. That's why we have people that help us with our posing. Hi. That's why we have people that help us with our posing. That's why we have people that help us with our diet. That's why we have people that help us with our training, because they know how to train your body for what you want to present. Right? We'll never go back to meal plan. Yep, me either. I got my cookie dealer in the freezer as we speak. LOL. And I do plan to eat one after my show, eat enough of it to feel satisfied, and then keep it moving. Yep. Well, it's funny because when I was at Warrior Classic, I got one of the goodie bags, right? So I was just doing I was commentating at Warrior. So I took one of the goodie bags and there was a brownie in there. And I was like, all right, I'm going to stick this brownie in I was in Buckeye brownies, I think. I was going to stick this in my freezer. It's still sitting in my freezer. Haven't touched it. Yeah, my husband got me that big box of like these really expensive French chocolates and stuff. And I've had 3 total and they're sitting there. Like, I just don't have a desire for them. Like if I do, I know it's sitting there and I can pull it out. I'm good to go, but I'm good. Like, I don't need it, Blondes thinking they can always pull off a red lip. Not to say they are intentionally copying someone directly, but perhaps it's a trend that people try and copy. And in my opinion, not everyone can pull it off. That's true. That's a presentation detail that you've got to know if you can do it or if you can't. Right? And I agree. I'm not a huge fan of the red lip on blondes, period. I think it looks a little over the top. Very rare that I'll see a blonde that can pull off a red lip. Very rare. Brunettes can do it a whole lot easier with the red lip. Blondes are hard, man. You got to go so neutral as a blonde, or else you just start looking overdone. That's one of the things that I can say, because I've been blonde and I've been brunette. I can wear a whole lot more makeup as a brunette and not look like a hooker. Whereas I couldn't do that as a blonde. It goes from pretty to slutty real quick as a blonde. But it's true. You got to have your own look. You got to have your own look and what works for you. You can't copy your look from somebody else. Right? I've never been brave enough. Yeah. I mean, I love a red lip. Don't get me wrong. Like in real life, a red lip can be really hot, but you've got to be on point with that red lip for the stage. And there's some people where it's like their signature look and it's fantastic, but then there's others that really should not have copied. And I think we've all seen it. At one point or another, right? But that was a good one. I mean, you've got to remember that your look has to be for you and not for somebody else. I get that a lot. Like Jasmine just logged on here. I get a lot of girls that want to look like Jasmine on stage, like with her suit or her posing or whatever. And I'm like, that's great that you find inspiration from her, but you don't look like Jasmine at all. Like different skin tone, different hair texture, different everything. And you've got to bring to the stage what is going to flatter you. I get you want to channel your inner Jazzy. I get that. That's fantastic. I love that. But You've got to find the look that works for you, and you got to find the presentation that works for you, right? 1,000%, right? Yes, absolutely. Yes. That dip thing I wanted. Yes, Karen, that dip thing. Got to bring you. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's, Jasmine, you're one of those people that people do look at for presentation because you're very, very good at it, which is flattering. That's amazing. You know what I mean? But these girls got to realize that they're not jazzy. They're not Jazzy Fresh. They're Kimmy Two Shoes. I don't know. Whatever. They're whoever they are, but they've got to find what their inner person is, their inner diva, right? Their inner stage person. And it took me some trial and error to find me. Yeah. Hey, I talk about you, Jasmine, and the first time I saw you walk on stage at Junior USA. So I was like, oh, that military walk. Oh my goodness. She looks like she's in combat boots right now. It took time. I tell people all the time, I'm like, Jasmine didn't start out like that. She put a shit ton of work into that in order to be able to do what she does. You know what I mean? And I wish I still had the video from Junior USA's to prove it, because man. Oh, people doing the Angelica spin on stage. Yep, Angelica did it. It's hers. Don't everybody else copy. I get that all the time. People will come to me to do their routine, and they'll be copying something that's the signature move of like a pro. And I'm like the Lauren Miller hair flip. Like she does this thing where she flips her hair off. I had girls coming to me doing that in their routine. I'm like, nope. I said, you got that from Lauren Miller. You're not doing it. Nope. This one, yeah. Or the Franciale back pose where she looks back and leans to the side. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Everybody tries to copy something. Just because a pro does it and they do it extremely well does not mean that you should be doing it. As a matter of fact, you probably shouldn't do it because that pro does it so well. You are always going to be the copy. You are always going to be the imitation, right? You're always going to be the one that they're like, oh, that was so-and-so's pose. You just copied her. So don't do it. Unless you can nail it and do it better than Angelica, don't even try. Because you're always going to be compared to her, right? So think about it that way too. Think about the fact that if I copy that person, I am always going to be known as the one that copied her, right? You want to be an original. An original. That's what my husband would say. An original. What else? Anything else anybody got? Yep. Don't go spending time on stage like Janet. Yeah, perfect example. Janet's routine when she won the Olympia was over 1 minute and 30 seconds long. It was super long. I remember because I recorded it. Janet can get away with it. You cannot. Right? Janet can get away with it. That is Janet's right. She can do that. You are not Janet. Yes, but it's so true. I mean, it's so true. Right? Just because the best in the world can do it doesn't mean you can. They're the best in the world for a reason. You going and trying to copy them, you're always going to look like a cheap imitation. Always. So keep that in the back of your head. You want to be you. You want to find you and what's unique to you. Right? I had girls do that with my back pose. So the pose that I hit when I, my first show back here in New York, when I got up to the top of the key and I had my back open, I have girls trying to copy me doing that. No, that's my pose. I worked damn hard on that pose, and you can't copy me. That's my pose, right? So, you got to find something that's you. Sue Color, who wins Olympia. Yep, that's something people copy all the time. Red was a big copycat color the last couple of years because we started seeing, Ashley Caldwell came out in red. A lot of girls were killing it in that red color. So a lot of girls started copying that red that really don't belong in red. You know, I say that all the time. Red's not just a color, it's a vibe. You got to be able to pull that vibe off, right? You got to be a little bit sexy in order to do that red. Red's not a cute color. Red's a sexy color. Right? Got to be able to bring some fire. Good. These are all good. These are all good, guys. Everyone should try to copy Jazzy's cheering skills, though, right? Yeah, Jasmine's cheering, and then also Jennifer's cheering too. I was saying, I'm like, I need to like start a program where I lease you guys as like fan clubs at these shows. I need to do that. I need to get you guys leased. Everybody needs a hype woman. I'm telling you, man. I told you guys the reason why I smiled as big as I did when I was doing the my routine in New York is because Jennifer was screaming for me. Right? Said perfectly, Red. It's a vibe. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, all of this. Be you and find your style and flow. Absolutely. Yes. I'll list my services on my website. I love it. You literally should. You should put that up as one of the options that you're like the cheer squad or whatever. This is what you do to have to hire you as a cheer squad at the show. The leasing pro. I know, for real. I'm serious. I'm gonna put that in my freaking boutique or something and be like, I'm gonna lease my cuties to be your cheering squad. Hey, we do. We got the best cheering squad at all these shows. We do. 100%. You can always hear them. All right. Well, that was fun, guys. That was good. Those are some really good things. And keep those things in mind as you're moving along here and getting ready to get on stage. You know, be you in every aspect of this, in your training, in your diet, in your posing, in your presentation, in your suit color, in your hair color, in your whatever, and everything that you do, you've got to find you. Right? And once you do, stick with it. Right? I found my look at New York and everybody's like, so are you sticking with this? 100%. I'm not changing a damn thing. My look was perfect. I was like, I'm not changing a thing about my look. It's doing the exact same thing until I can't do it no more because that is my look now. Right? Love this. Yes. To be honest, I have quite a few requests with willing paying customers. That's too funny. Got to get this cheering business going. I love that. I mean, I'm dead serious. You got nobody else out there doing it. Hell, have them fly you into their show, sit and cheer for them. It's all about that energy, man. It's all about that energy. Obsessed with looking different from everyone. Yes. I've tried so many looks: straight hair, curly, long wig, half up, half down, fill out curls. Yes, you have. You tried everything. Yes. And I mean, you should give those things a shot until you feel like you found your look and you found your comfortability in your own skin, you know? I know one of the big things for you last year, Jasmine, is you really wanted to wear your natural hair on stage. That was a big deal for you, right? Different suit colors. And I feel I found my look. Yes, absolutely. Yep. You know, and you got to find you. And again, that the look with your hair and stuff like that, where you won your pro card with a half up, literally nobody's ever done that before the way you did it. Nobody. But yet you won a show doing it because it worked for you. It's your look. Right? It's important. It's important. So, like I said, there's always going to be things that are never going to change. You have to do X, Y, and Z. But within those parameters, you got to find you. You got to find you within those parameters. Right? Totally off topic. Will you ever dye your hair a funky color again? I don't know. Probably not. The reason why I went dark is because of the health of my hair. So I'm a natural blonde, and it's a natural ash blonde. So it's almost like a grayish color. It's really ugly. It's a really bad color. It's an ash blonde. And so no matter what I do with it, it has to be dyed or bleached or something. So when I'm a natural blonde, I have to put highlights into it or it just does not look right. So I went super platinum, and that's when I went pink because pink was more healthy for my hair. And then I went dark because, again, healthy for my hair. Because when you're depositing dye, it's healthy versus bleaching, right? Just missed a bunch of comments. Hang on. I chopped my hair off. Everyone on fitness pages said, don't do it. You'll never place. But I want to be myself. There you go. There. And they're like, swimmer, it's a show. Competitors are performing. How can you not cheer? Right? Yes. It took time and showing up on stage many times, trying out the hair, makeup, and the suit, all the different combinations. Ladies, take this as a reminder that it takes time, and also hire a coach. Yep, sure does. That knows and understands bikini. Yep. Hire a coach that understands and knows bikini, especially the presentation aspect. Yep, absolutely. And that's huge nowadays too. I mean, I've heard it from the judges, straight from the judges' mouth. Your posing is everything. Posing is everything. Because everybody looks phenomenal now. And I've mentioned this before. It's like minute little hairs in between the difference of the physiques, right? Your presentation and how you put yourself on stage is everything. It's everything. If you can't show your physique well, the judges can't see it, you're done. You're done. So take the time. Like Jasmine just said, it takes time, it takes practice. You know, that's what I said when I got off stage at New York. I was like, can I go back up there and do that again? I need to try it again. I was like, I need to go again. One more time. You practice. These top pros are the way they are because they practice. And they get on stage a lot. They've been doing it for years. You're not going to be perfect your first show. Right? Posing and overall look. They comment on makeup being bad these days. Posing is finally as important, if not more important, than the physique you bring. Yep. Was at a recent pro show. The woman had short bleach blonde spiked hair. It wasn't about the hair. It was the package it worked for her. She rocked it. You couldn't take your eyes off her. Yes. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, people have been asking me about this whole DIY with your makeup stuff because girls think they can do that. Unless you're really, really good at makeup, don't do that. I'm telling you, don't do it. It's so distracting when the makeup is bad. It's so distracting when the makeup is bad. So if you're not 100% confident in what you're doing with your makeup for show day, hire somebody to do it for you. Promise you, it will make a big difference. Big difference. And I've told you guys this before too. Make sure your tan is on point. Tan is so important. Those things are so important, you guys. If you've got a really terrible tan or a really bad makeup job, you can't even see your physique through it. You can't. So, anything else? We went on for a while. I still got cardio to do, which is why I'm drinking this. So, cold brew. Cold brew. All right, guys. Good topic tonight, guys. Good discussion. Love it. Tomorrow night we'll get on live and we'll go over, do a preview of the shows for this weekend because the pro list did just come out right before I got on live. So I didn't have a chance to actually look at the pro list yet. So I'll give you my thoughts and predictions, things like that coming up tomorrow night. Right here at 8:15. We'll do the same thing here on Instagram and on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you need to. So do that. There is a link in my bio here on Instagram. These do go up so that you can rewatch them both on Instagram and on YouTube. So whichever platform you prefer. I prefer to watch on YouTube. I think it's a little bit more user-friendly when it comes to watching videos. So if you want to do that, go ahead on over there. We are starting a newsletter. Okay, so what that will include is every week when you get our newsletter, it's going to include links back to our YouTube channel so that you can watch whatever you missed for the week. So be paying attention. If you're not on our mailing list already, go to our site and get on our mailing list. But that'll be starting up this week. So basically, it'll go into your inbox every week, and it'll give you a recap of the videos that we put out for the week, so you can go back through and binge watch, basically, on your cardio or whatever it is that you may need to do. And then try to come in on the lives too, because I love having discussions with you. That's this whole point. You know, I want you guys talking to me, asking questions, all of that, right? So the more that you do that, the better these lives get, the more information we get out there, more education we get out there too, the more that you get on here. So I really appreciate you guys doing that for us. So we'll be back again tomorrow night, 8:15, right here. And we will review the 2 shows this weekend, which are Miami and Toronto. So we got 2 shows this coming weekend. So I'm going to look at the pro list now because I want to see who's on them. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Hope you guys had a great day. I sure did. It was very busy, but got a lot done today. So really, really excited about that. And we'll see you back here tomorrow night. All right. I'm going to end out on YouTube first. There we go. And then Instagram. See